Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words, become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are entering the world of social skills along with emotional intelligence to talk about the number one dating mistake out there. Right now, it seems as though that there's a lot of faulty advice going around and it's being presented as solid advice. And one of the faultiest advice I see nowadays is to make a very detailed checklist of what you want in a partner. And I've seen some of these checklists. These lists go up to 50 different items. And I think 50 different items? Let me read this list. And I'll read the list and I'm shocked because a lot of the items within the list are contradictory in nature. I'll give you an example. Let's say a girl, she writes, I want a very ambitious man. And then she also writes, I want this man to make me the number one priority in his life. If you really understand what ambition is about, these two lines are contradictory. An ambitious man is always going to make the skill set the number one priority in his life. The reason why is because the more that he works on the skill set, the more that the other elements of his life get taken care of, including the girl. But if you want this ambitious guy, who by the way isn't ambitious anymore, to make the girl the number one priority, what begins to happen is that the girl eventually begins to resent this guy because this guy turns into a nice guy. So as I'm looking at this list, I see that the first two items are contradictory. Should I even bother reading the rest of this list? Imagine that this individual is going out of her way to follow this list religiously. What's going to happen? One day she meets this ambitious man. Everything is going well with this guy. But one day she says, you know what? He doesn't make me enough of a priority. Forget it. I'll find someone else like that. And she keeps repeating this mistake. Right? She eventually finds someone who makes her the number one priority. They're not ambitious. So once again, she's like, oh, well, let me spend more time looking for folks. And just like that, 8 years have been wasted. And it's due to this faulty list. I think one of the most destructive advice out there nowadays is make a detailed list. You should do nothing of the kind. Instead of making detailed lists, I recommend you make a priority list. Where a detailed list has roughly 25 to 50 different items, a priority list only has 3 to 5 items max. And you need to give yourself the cutoff of 5 max. Because if it's beyond 5, then chances are you are creating this imaginary person in your mind that will never be seen in real life. Because human beings are flawed creatures, and there is no human being out there that is going to meet every single item. And every now and then you'll hear these stories like, well, I made a detailed list and I found the partner to match everything in the item. In the list, they're just talking like that. That's not reality. So in order to not have your time wasted, my dear viewer, avoid these detailed lists and stick to a priority list. Create 3 to 5 items max, and I actually recommend 3 because this forces you to clarify your thinking. And once you're clarified with the thinking, oh, whoa, I really want 3. Let's say you want them to be the same religion as you. You want them to live in the north like you, because for you, living in the north is very important, and you want them to have kids in the future. Once you have these 3, now you're not wasting time with these detailed lists that make you focus on the silly. One girl and one guy, no, it was a girl. She's like, I do not date a guy whose shoes and the belt don't match. That was the silly thing I heard from a girl. Now from a guy who for some reason made this detailed list, he's like, man, if the girl doesn't comb her hair where she doesn't have split ends, then I don't know if I could vibe with her like that. I looked at this guy and I thought, split ends, huh? Back in the days, I thought split ends were a very important thing. And then I grew up. Dude, what if the person is perfect and she has split ends? And now what? Everything else checks out, but the split ends thing is an issue. now what? If this guy focuses on the split ends and this girl focuses on the belt and the shoes, they're never going to find someone. So ditch the detailed lists and focus on a slim, nice priority list. That is my number one dating advice in today's modern climate. Thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you next time.